We chose Granit because we were introduced to them by our builders. Our builders we've used on a previous project, so we know them very well and we trust their judgment. So when they introduced us to Granit, we met James initially. He came to the house, and I think architects can be a little bit or you may feel a bit intimidated by meeting an architect, but in fact James instantly put us at our ease. He was very easy to get on with, and he made us feel very confident that they would do a good job for us. The initial conversation we had, he came up with some good suggestions, and it just made us feel very confident in the project.
I think also in these projects you're going to get, the builders' woodmans we know very well, but you're going to get moments when you don't know what the right thing to do is. I wouldn't say there were any disputes at all, there weren't, that's not what I'm talking about, just making decisions about some key things. And being able to pull someone to one side and just say, look, what do you really think about this? And know you're going to get a straight answer. It's been very helpful actually.
I would say to anyone who is thinking of appointing Granit as their architect that it would be a very good decision. I think just to have an architect on board is so important. I think in the long term it saves you money and saves you a lot of stress. And Granit particularly have just been such a pleasure to work with. Incredibly professional, really know their staff. They have a whole range of experts to call upon, from the interior design side of things through to obviously the structural side of things. And I think that it is money well spent, and it's just made the whole experience actually quite pleasurable, which I'm not sure many people could say that about their house renovation projects.
It's always important to deal with an organisation that you think has some depth to it. It's not just sort of one guy who may or may not be around at the critical point. We dealt with Pip on a regular basis. He was fantastic, but when really important decisions had to be taken, James and others were involved. Lindsay was there on the interiors, which was superb. So we felt it was a sort of an integrated service, and one where if we weren't entirely comfortable, we could say, well, can we get someone else involved to help make this choice? And so that was important to us.
I think employing Granit for the interior design service is also has been for us a really worthwhile decision, because we've ended up with some finishes that I would never have thought of. They were able to get a good idea of our taste. They got that very quickly, and they were able to come up with suggestions for the interior design that were exactly what we wanted. So I think we've really ended up with a finish that for us feels very special and very much our style.
I think also I didn't realise how early you should get some decisions made on key interiors, and actually how detailed the whole thing is. And I remember sitting in meetings at Granit really early on, thinking, well, why are we thinking about these things now? But the proof of the pudding was in the eating, and it's turned out very well. So it was kind of good advice all around.
When we first moved back into the house, the experience of moving back here was just fantastic. Everything had come together, and the house felt like a home. It felt like our home with all the things that we'd wanted. It had all come together, and it just had such a great feel about it. And for our day-to-day living, it's been wonderful, because we use every bit of the space. And before we had the house done, we didn't. The area that we're in now, we never used to come and sit here. It was kind of cold, unfriendly, really unappealing. Whereas now we use every single bit of the house, and I think that's really the mark of a good project, when you know that you want to be everywhere, you want to be in every room, you're happy in every particular space that you sit in or walk around in or use. And so it's been a real success. We're really happy with it. It feels like a home. It doesn't feel like a project, it doesn't feel like a show home, it feels like our home, and that's really good.
Well, I'd say the main benefit from working with Granit, from my point of view, is that you go through a project that can be very stressful. It can put a strain on your relationship, but we ended up at the end of the project, we got married. So I would say that thank you, Granit.